Welcome, sentient beings from all known universes and beyond. It's time to activate your cranial downlinks and prepare to receive a raft of discussion on a cosmic ocean of science fiction and fantasy topics, interviews with local area genre devotees, and insightful prognostication by our soothsayers of science fiction, our forecasters of fantasy, and any other beings that happen to get caught in our gravity well. This is the Galactic Driftwood Podcast.
Hello, drifters. Can I call them that? Well, anyway.
Actually, that works.
Hello. What's that?
It's been like we just pointed out. We've been at this now for 4 to 5 years. Are we just going to give our audience a nickname now?
Yeah,
Sure,
they've
why
had
not?
4 to 5 years to come up with one. I think it's
a good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
So, hello, drifters. I'm Bill.
I'm Linda.
I'm Charles.
I'm Seth.
I'm Jenna.
And I'm Chris.
And today we're going to be talking about something that really has both, well, maybe not both, but really has Chris's dander up. And that is She-Hulk and the way it ended. And it sounds like we might have a battle royal here between Seth and Chris on She-Hulk. But we all have seen it. Linda and I are only 4 episodes in, but I will say that it's gotten better from the first episode. The first episode, we were like, and then everybody said, no, give it a chance. So we did. And so far, we're liking it. So I guess, Chris, since you got the real beef here, do you want to kind of kick off?
I won't jump into the beef just quite yet, but I will say, touching back on what you said, it started off a little uninteresting, and then got better as the series went on.
Yeah.
So it does seem to start a little bit slow, and then they try and get you engaged as you start to learn a little bit more about the main character. And as what's her name, Miss Walters, goes about figuring out, who she is, and being, herself and the Hulk, and does she want to separate those lives or keep them together? Right. Even it goes to the extent where there's even a court case over what is her true identity, as She-Hulk. Is she She-Hulk, or is that someone else's brand that can be trademarked or whatever? So the story kind of evolves from that aspect. And I felt like, by the time we get to the ending, they just kind of throw it all away and give Jen kind of her own creative ability to end the show in her way. But I wasn't a fan of how it was done or how abruptly it kind of went that direction, given kind of where they built everything out to. It just seemed like, let's throw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what sticks by the time we get to the last episode. All that being said, it was a fun show up until that last, half of the final episode that they did. The series itself, the way it was kind of built out, I felt could have been drawn out quite a bit. Probably my favorite part out of the series was a reintroduction to oh my god, I just blanked on Daredevil.
Oh, right, yeah.
And that's really what took an interesting turn, was not expected. But if you're not aware, Daredevil is, looking to go through a reboot of sorts. And it's going to have the same main character, which is going to be awesome. I think he did a wonderful job playing Daredevil. Maybe it'll be less violent, which I'm not sure if I'm okay with, but suffice it to say, Jen Walters and Daredevil, spoiler alert, by the way, for those of you listening or watching, ultimately hook up and we get to see Daredevil do a walk of shame which was probably the best part of the entire season. Was the scenes that they had in there for that. So
that was very
yes, it was very funny. So I want to give credit where credit's due for where the series did things right and well, and kind of pulling Daredevil in and finding a humorous way to add on to She-Hulk's ever growing relationships and how she's finding out who she is and how she deals with everything going forward. So that was pretty interesting. Now, when we get to the last episode, man, where to start?
Yeah, I don't know how much we want to talk about the specifics of the last episode.
Yeah,
I think
we should.
I think you kind of have to, or else we're going to be so generic that
that is true. But we're also that is a major spoiler for Bill and Linda.
That's okay. We're okay with it.
Let me throw a couple things in first that which is how I handled the last episode in a way. But about the second episode into She-Hulk, I was reminded because she really wants a corner office, and there's some stuff there that I'm not relating to because I've been in the corporate world too long.
Wait. Did she want a corner office, or they just gave her that corner office?
Well, she wanted one at one point, I think. She wants an office.
Yeah, and it was certainly sweet.
She does. Here's
package,
where I'm
right?
getting to, though, before. It reminded me of Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own. And one of this is just kind of loosely, but that for this show, I think the men have to take a step back kind of and just let it go. That there's going to be a different style, than the rest of the Marvel. It indicated to me there's going to be a different take on things.
Yeah.
Which is what the point of Virginia Woolf's essay, or I think it's an essay, Room of One's Own. One of the conclusions was if people have different experiences or writing something, they're going to write differently. So don't be comparing it exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was kind of coming at the last episode from that perspective.
I think it helps because there is stuff you're expecting it to be like the other Marvel shows. And none of it is.
Well, this is very different from any of the other Marvel shows. This is just straight up a comedy.
Yes.
One of the things I found, what I found kind of neat about this is I watched some of these episodes with the kids, and it seemed like the episodes, they have stuff about bullying, and it seemed like each one had a pretty good conversation point, which was directed like at a 13-year-old. But so I found it kind of like a helpful series actually that way. But
yeah, have you watched it yet, Jenna?
Yeah, I've watched all of it, and so I'm kind of the middle ground because at first I was kind of mad at the last episode too. I was like, we don't have many super heroine focused movies or shows.
Right.
And I wanted her to have the badass action last scene. Like, I didn't like where it was going. Like, before she completely took us out of the scene. And I was like, this is kind of a bullshit thing. You're throwing everything out there of all the villains and stuff, and it's too much for the end. So her changing it to her own, it made it better anyway, because it just would have been a stupid ending had they kept going.
And that was kind of the standard Marvel ending, where they throw everything at the screen, and we're just like, oh yeah, I can't believe they showed up.
No, I mean that's the end game ending. I mean, to me, a lot of the other Marvel
other endings as well.
Spider-Man, yeah, I get that. But at the same time, because we don't have so many female-centric movies and series, like, to have her have that moment, that big action badass moment, would have been pretty cool. But that's not what the series was about, because we do have that with, Miss Marvel. We have that with not Scarlet Witch, WandaVision, and
Yeah.
the Black Widow. So we've had those to satisfy that we needed, and this series became more of a comedy commentary on the audience's reaction, whether male or female or everything in between, to a female-led series. So I get where they were coming from, and I could appreciate it from that point of view, that talk back. But I can definitely see how for a lot of people it might have been too big of a piece to swallow.
All right. Can I actually say what happened at the end and then
Thank you.
give you my opinion on what was being said there, partially?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So in the last episode, Jen, because of the manipulations of this online group called Intelligentsia, basically incel trolls who aren't happy that there is a She-Hulk and she has power, and basically they don't.
She stole it. She didn't deserve it.
Yeah, she didn't deserve her. But so just a group of whiny men who've been kind of in the background this whole time, partially manipulating Jen, partially stalking her online and posting fake stories. But because of their manipulation, she lost control, and then the court said she could no longer be She-Hulk. And they had also stolen her blood, which was a whole other thing. But we get to the end fight where she walks in on them and discovers them, and she knew one of the guys. And then Emil Blonsky's there, the Abomination, who didn't know kind of what was going on, but he's ready to fight. And then let's see, the Hulk just appears out of nowhere. Titania busts in through the wall none of those guys had any reason to be there. And Jen just goes, wait. Oh, wait. Before all that, and then the leader, the Hulk King, takes her treated blood and injects himself and becomes the Hulk himself.
What?
Or a Hulk. It doesn't become the Hulk, but becomes
a Hulk, looking like a really nerdy, but super jacked version of himself.
Yeah, it definitely started going into a very weird direction where everybody was starting to show up, and it was like, okay, we all know this is the final episode. Where is this going?
Yeah, and then Jen goes, wait, stop, Hulk, no, and she's just like, cut everything, and it goes back to basically the Disney Plus screen.
Yeah, that was the screenshot. If you could pull that up again, she literally. So Marvel took that fourth wall concept, right, breaking that fourth wall, and they went even a step further in how you do it, which I found was entertaining. At first, I was like, "What in the crap is going on?" And it kind of just starts to derail everything from there. And I'll let you continue. But I did grab that screenshot to show what was going on. But on your screen, it looks like you're at the Disney main menu.
Oh,
scrolling through the Marvel.
Right. It looks like you're on the Disney main menu with the She-Hulk. She-Hulk thing there, and she gets out of the little pane and is looking around.
Yeah. So she literally crawls through the screen like
so that's that screen,
something like out of the ring. Yep.
Yeah.
That
so
you're actually watching that.
Corner, looking around for what she's gonna do, and eventually she sees down there assembled where it's a show about talking with the writers and the directors, and she hops out of her frame and breaks into that one.
Oh God.
And goes to talk to the writers about what's going on, and they're all like, "Oh no, this scene is from the Kevin. The Kevin insisted."
No, not the Kevin, because that would have given up too much.
It's from Kevin. Yes, they just said Kevin.
And they're all very worshipful, and she's like, "Okay, you're a little creepy," and then goes out to find Kevin Feige.
And to expand on creepy, it was more like it was kind of scary because one of them's like, "I'd have to kill you," Like that's how. Yeah, nobody talks to Kevin. I would have to kill you. Like you don't go just talk to Kevin.
I would die. I would die for Kevin.
Yes.
That sounds very strange.
She leaves the writer's room to go looking for Kevin Feige and gets approved to meet him. And when
Approved.
she comes in,
Seth approved.
oh,
She beat up the security guards on the way there.
That is true. But she gets in there and she finds this amazing room that it's like wall-to-wall monitors with the Marvel stuff playing continuously, and a robot comes out of the ceiling, and she's like, Kevin, and he's like, yes, I am Kevin.
Oh,
Did you really think that all of this could be contained by one human mind?
oh no. Okay.
And so they have a conversation there and she basically explains to him that this ending doesn't make any fucking sense. What about my story? Because none of what's happening now is wrapping up the story with me. And why give him the powers? Like, what? You're literally just giving the whiny fanboy the thing he wanted. He doesn't get to do that, okay? And so she just dictates how the ending is going to go.
Which Kevin agrees with.
Including that. And you know what? I think Daredevil should be there.
Because a woman has needs. That's what she
says. She's like, I got needs. And then there's a meme that a lot of people has been kind of going around, and she's like, yeah, I can do this. I can smash fourth walls and Matt Murdock. Which I thought
it was clever. It was
clever.
So but changing your feeling on it, Chris, then?
It's not, because it here's the thing. There's truth to what Seth's saying and what they were doing and it being a comedy. But it was basically like they were flirting with this idea and breaking because it's not the first time they kind of break the fourth wall. They do it kind of the series starts out that way, basically. But when you get to the last episode, it goes a little bit above and beyond that. Makes it very anticlimactic, right? And it was so abrupt, and there was no really work up to it, and maybe that's just that could be a way of doing it, I guess. And for me, it was just like, okay, and then they end it, and there's really no battle there. There was really nothing worth watching, in my opinion. It was like, okay, we're getting this mystery kind of starts to unravel here. We're figuring out who the masks are behind, who's doing all these evil doings, and then it's like, okay, now everyone's in handcuffs, and we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, it jumps to everyone in handcuffs, and everything's resolved.
And she never, as much as like we like to see the big battles and stuff that Marvel's known for, Jen Walters doesn't really get any of that. We get to see her last big show of force was her scaring the shit out of everybody, being like this psycho Hulk that's super pissed off, and then it's just nothing, nothing really more. And that's just, again, I could see where they just kind of derail it, and it was the easiest excuse to have maybe some lazy writing, in my opinion. They inserted some more clever jokes, but then they really didn't write an ending to it. They were just like, and you go off into the sunset and the bad guys go to jail, and that was that.
Because I think that was the message.
Yeah, but I
don't agree with the message. It's the thing, and that message is very off-putting.
I completely agree with the message, because here's what I think. I think the message
is lazy writing. I can't think of a time where I've enjoyed it, where they break through the fourth wall. There's never been a movie or show where they've done that to me has been
not even Deadpool.
Not even what?
Blazing Saddles was an excuse that was
no. I thought I hated him. Blazing Saddles also.
And that's
no, it wasn't a pie fight. I didn't want to see a pie fight. When I was a kid, I was into the cowboy hero. So I remember being pissed about Blazing Saddles for a long time. The ending.
Huh.
And I think that's fair. To that point, it's not to say that it's wrong. It's something that isn't always received well from a lot of people.
But you also
And so we have that
on,
here and to me it just helps solidify that for a long time now I've been unhappy with Marvel's writing and the direction and where they're going, and this is just in addition, it's piling on top of it to just more and more lazy writing in favor of just kind of comedy. And to me it's just shit. And it's getting really annoying to the extent where, like, I don't know that I really want to watch any more Marvel because they're getting lazier and lazier in favor of an excuse of comedy. And yeah, they have really good quips. The wit in the writing is there, but the storyline is not. They're like, fuck the plot. We're just gonna do what we want, and we're gonna wrap this up in 10 minutes and break the fourth wall and use that, to me, as an excuse to just kind of end it and wrap it up. And we can throw whatever we want on top of it, saying, Jen deserves to have control of her own ending and all that kind of stuff. But I also feel like, well, we could have also just extended this a few episodes and had a better story.
So two thoughts. Yeah. Charles, I think, brings up a good point. I almost have to wonder if there was an ode to Blazing Saddles in a way in the ending, because Blazing Saddles, the shock was a black cowboy sheriff, which had never been done in film before. And in a way, they were kind of doing this commentary of a female superhero, which has been done before, but it's always met with some.
It had to have been on their minds.
It was also done in the comics these were based on.
Yes. So the other thought then, so I think there is a relationship there, and I thought that was clever, Charles, that you pointed that out. But do you think, Chris, that the slippery slope down comedy started because Joss Whedon, love him or hate him, whatever, like all that controversy around, he was a very good writer who could balance the comedy with the serious, and his movies, made the other writers feel like they had to put more comedy in it to keep that same level, and maybe they've gone too far.
Go ahead, Seth.
She asked you, so you should get to go first.
No, everyone. Just thoughts, Chris, Seth. Because you both are familiar with Joss Whedon's work, like I am.
So, I would. My immediate response to that is you're probably right, Jenna. In that, consider what happened with some of the data points they've got. Thor: The Dark World did much better than Thor Ragnarok did way better than Thor Dark World, and that was in a large part because of Taika Waititi's kind of goofy influence on that franchise. Avengers was a huge success partially because of Joss Whedon, but I don't know if this really it belongs in that particular discussion because this is a sitcom. This isn't a Marvel action movie where the quips are thrown in for a comedic relief.
And I think that transition,
comedy.
Yeah, and I think that transition, and I think we've talked about this briefly before, where Marvel is branching out to different segments, and now with the multiverse, there's even more ability for them to do more around that area. Ragnarok is really where it started to feel awkward to me and different. And I didn't really like the vibe, and I got where they were going with the humor, but it didn't feel, to your point, like Thor: Dark World. Thor Ragnarok was almost a completely different animal at its core in terms of how you kind of felt through the thing. It was never really serious, and we've talked about this before, like why I prefer DC versus Marvel because of the tone of the stories that are being written. And I feel like when you've got something like this, like, okay, this is fun and all, but it's not, you 100% wouldn't see this in one of the earlier Marvel films, because to your point, Seth, it's not a sitcom. They weren't sitcoms, but now that they're branching into that, it's kind of a weird blur line for a different audience, perhaps, and because of that, I don't know that I want to watch the future Daredevil if that's the route they want to go. I don't know if I want to watch anything that's not part of the main arc, and I don't know how you differentiate that.
See,
going forward.
Marvel is their success has kind of allowed them to have a sandbox that they can do whatever the hell they want in. and that to me that feels very comic books, because like you see stuff like what happened in this show happen in the more the kind of the self-aware Marvel comics. They've got storylines like this, and it didn't read as out of place in a comics universe, because Marvel's comic universe and even DC's comic universe is filled with these weird things that I enjoy. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of came out of that weird Marvel back catalog, and they'll do things like this.
And that's fine. And it's just like, for me, I don't connect with it as much, because I prefer a better story over some of the goofiness that they can do. And, they're well within their right to do whatever they want in their creative universe. And I think they have done a wonderful job up to this point, building it out to an extent where they have so much flexibility. It's just, when it comes to She-Hulk in particular, I felt like it was used as a shortcut to create a short series with a shitty ending. Whether it was funny or not, it was just a short series with a shitty ending. And I can't get over it, because it was so abrupt, and it was like, okay, we're going to spend 6-7 hours building this thing out, and in 15 minutes we're going to tear it all to the ground and just throw this out there.
On the other hand, it does make you, it forces you, the fact that it's not a satisfying ending. At least for me, I know it. I spent a couple of days going, what's wrong with this versus the others, and part of it's just you didn't get to see the resolution, but you are comparing different possibilities in your mind for a while after watching this. It's kind of, so in that respect, it was neat. But
I think
that's not usually what I'm on board for, though.
So I personally think that the ending was really, really good, because all right, so you need to listen to kind of some of the things that the douchebags and the intelligentsia, when you listen to the guys talking at the end, when the internet assholes all meet up, you listen to them talk, and it sounds exactly like the internet discourse that was going on when Captain Marvel was coming out. It sounds exactly like the discourse around Star Wars, the new Star Wars trilogy, specifically the character of Rey, or oh man, what was her name from the second movie that she just fully quit?
I know. I know who you're.
But it sounded just like that. What the ending was the writer's direct response to those people. And their response was, you don't get what you want. We don't care about you. Specifically those toxic fans. It was, I think, a direct message to them. Look right in the eyes. This is
that was a big part of this series, was her having to deal with toxic people. Her
boss at work, who insisted that she show up as She-Hulk and didn't give her any worth when she wasn't She-Hulk.
Go ahead.
That was a major theme throughout the series.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, Seth, and I get what Chris is saying. And I think the challenge is all of these things you want to see done and said in a piece of artwork in a series. I mean, there was a message that needed to be sent, which is great. But I also get Chris's perspective, where the Marvel universe had set a tone that, across so many movies that was almost legendary, that you could do that with so many different movies and directors that set a tone and created a universe. But now that universe feels like it's fraying. She-Hulk does not feel like it's the same in a way, the universe and you get what I'm saying? It doesn't feel.
I don't think it has to be the same.
Everything else.
Well,
and I think some people who like a consistency in the tone of their movies, of a storyline, if it's all supposed to be in the same universe. See, Linda gets what I'm talking. When you start adding, like, if it's going to be break the fourth wall, they should all break the fourth wall. I mean, that's the kind of thing I think some people like. They want a consistency. If you're going to keep the same characters and explore universe, they want the same
Consistency. Yep.
like tone.
But do you
Yep.
think that they're trying to create these different types of shows in order to increase the audience?
Yeah.
Because there are some
And
people
that's
that aren't going to be interested in the Marvel action stuff, but they might be drawn into a comedy show about superheroes because they don't take superheroes seriously anyway. So
And-
okay, yeah, I'll watch a comedy.
yeah, and I can bite on that, but I would add, you know, I almost view it this way. If the directors or the writers wanted to have an example, how I view it is, you know, they took an opportunity to take the pedestal, if you will, and sacrifice She-Hulk to get a message across. And I say sacrifice because I feel like the ending did her a disservice. I don't know that I'd ever change that. Even having an understanding of what ultimately their message was, they chose to sacrifice She-Hulk in any, you know, possibility potentially of, you know, what people can expect of that series going forward or getting additional seasons or anything like that, just to make a point. And I don't think that was fair to the actress and what they could do with She-Hulk, because now you have, well, what message are they going to try and put out there next? And they're well within their rights to do that. I'm not saying it was wrong, but I also think there was a, you know, and I don't have that answer. What is the better way to write that kind of ending or get that message across? It was just kind of jarring in the way that it was presented, to take you out of, and that's the intention. Let me get a message across here and tell you what Jen has had to put up with, and you know, she deserves better or whatever. But I don't think they gave her better. I don't think they gave her what she deserved. So and then they kind of just ended it, and it was like, okay, she's going to get her guy, and you know, she deserves you know, Murdoch and whatnot, and then they kind of just wrapped it up, and I felt like, you know, more could have been done to present more, not a story, but more could have been done. And I feel like, hey, this is the message we want to do. We're going to put She-Hulk up there. She's our sacrificial lamb for our message, and just light that on fire and call it good.
I sort of wondered,
take it or leave it.
I've wondered if they didn't shoot, well, because you know, and there's a few stories and books out there where the hero talks their way out of a situation at the end, right?
Yeah.
And the vast majority of those, I don't believe the speech. You know, they'll give a speech, and I don't, and you know, and this reminded me of
it's empty.
This reminded me of Howard Rourke's speech in The Fountainhead. It's what would it have been like, where she talks a bunch of assholes into giving themselves up. And I don't know how you would pull that off. And part of me thinks that they probably tried it and went, uh-oh, this doesn't fly, because I've never seen it done in real life either. You know, the convincing the bully that they're being a bully.
I can say
I don't think
prison's your next option.
I don't think she talked any of them down. I think the insinuation is somebody just called the cops, and the cops showed up, and they got his evidence that he's being aggressive or whatever, or, you know, Jen.
Yeah. Where's Jen's actual hero moment here? What did she do, if anything, other than just saying, rewrite the story and end this? You know, all it was effectively, by the time we get to the end of the series, is Jen took a lot of shit and she didn't deserve it, but that was it. Like, she never got her hero moment. She never got her comeback speech. She never got, you know, her comeback speech was through an effing robot over how to kind of maybe change the ending and bring Matt Murdock over, because I need that. And, you know, that's it. And it was like, okay, so, you know, where is her power given here? Not just in terms of strength, but where was her hero moment? She didn't get one.
But she's a lawyer. Like, that's been the point of the whole show. She's not a superhero. She's a lawyer.
She wants to do the talking. That's what we still missed out on that.
And she lawyered her way into the ending she wanted.
Which I mean, yeah, she is a lawyer, but she's also the She-Hulk. That was also kind of the challenge of the whole series, is her balancing that between the two. And I guess to that point, Jen wins out at the end as a lawyer.
There was only one episode where she was considering like doing superhero stuff, and it was because like that was part of the Matt Murdock thing, where he was explaining his deal, and she went with it just once. Like the whole point was she's a lawyer, and she's trying to maintain that aspect of herself, and not just fall into the Marvel trap of that dominating her life the way it does her brother.
And I could see that, but then it could be argued somebody else had to give her ending. She didn't physically make it happen herself per se. She had to go talk to Kevin, and Kevin came in on her behalf and changed everything. So she had to rely on somebody to read power.
Well, at least Kevin was a robot.
I love that.
Y'all aren't making me want to watch the end, so
you gotta watch it. Well, watch it and let us know. Watch it and let us know.
I do want to watch it now just to see the weirdness.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's worth the frustration's worth something.
Oh, great!
I wasn't frustrated. I liked the ending. It was funny.
No, I mean,
fun.
I felt like the ending there, and then I'll quit after this, and I know we're coming up on time here. The ending for me really drove home some really good jokes, but at the expense of maybe driving a point that maybe wasn't. I won't call it obvious, but again, the fact that it was detracting means that somewhere along the line you didn't do a good job transitioning from one part of it to another. And again, I think Jenna said it maybe best earlier: a lack of satisfaction when you get to the end, and that's really what irks me is I would have, if they went that direction, I wanted more. The direction that they did go into, I would have wished for more for Jen, and we didn't get that. And if they obviously didn't go the other direction of just this final all-out battle, so I wasn't satisfied with the ending. Is it worth a watch? Yes, because I think I'd be curious, Bill and Linda, what your thoughts are when you get through it. But for our commenters and watchers as well, it'd be nice to know what you thought when you got to the ending and how you felt. Right, because it's going to be a mix. Seth liked it, I didn't, and I think that's going to be pretty broad out there in terms of what people thought about it.
Well, some of us, I didn't like it, but I kind of like endings I don't like. So
like here's how I look at it. The point I feel like they wanted to make was not giving the Hulk King what he wanted, which was basically them like going, okay, you internet losers, you're not going to get what you want. But then you take that away and there's no reason for a fight at the end. Like logically, he just gets arrested for being a creepy weirdo. Like
who stole her information and pictures of her without her permission.
Yeah.
And like, sure, they could have let him, like, given him the whole Hulk serum, but that's still giving the bad guy exactly what he wanted through all this bad acting that he did. It's rewarding the bad guy for his behavior still.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like the message of like, you know what? No, we just aren't like taking what you want into account. Like the bad guy does. You are the bad guy, this specific part of the audience, and you're not getting any of what you wanted. Anything. We're just stupid. And then like you take that out, and then Bruce and Titania, or Bruce showing up out of nowhere, and the whole like fight scene that was developing, like you take that out, and it is just you call the police and arrest the chode. Like
it was her. It was like, well, I guess she did. She did, from a lawyer perspective, she did file an appeal and get it approved. I think is the way you can look at
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I think people are going to see what
It
they
does.
see, and
Yeah,
we'll just have to wait to see what Linda and Bill think, and
Yeah.
let our audience, comment below what they thought of the episode.
Sounds
it's a
good.
different beast than the normal Marvel movie show, but they have been going a little weird with those.
Yeah. Well, so for the audience that hasn't even started it yet, do you recommend they watch the series based on the way it ended?
Yeah,
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
and push
Well,
through
it's
the first
fun.
couple of episodes. It's different. It's no different than, think of WandaVision and how that started.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to the end, you either like it or you didn't, but it was important that you got to the end because it did build up into something. It doesn't feel the same way that She-Hulk, and doesn't feel the same way that She-Hulk ended, but definitely, get through the first couple. You will like it. It is fun. There's plenty of great jokes in there. Like I said, my favorite part was bringing in Matt Murdock, Daredevil, into the series was the highlight for me.
And his yellow costume.
Yeah, and his yellow costume. He's got a new look, but he's just as witty, just as good. So definitely, my recommendation is to check it out for sure. I did not like the ending, but I tell you what, until that last 10-15 minutes, it was fine.
It was a good ride.
Linda,
it was a good ride.
Yeah.
Linda, if you think this is bad, maybe for the next record, Chris and I just talk about anime for an hour.
I'm down for that.
I think Linda's out for that. All right, sounds good. Well, thanks everybody for the input. A lot of good discussion there, and I'm looking forward to seeing the ending if it's as bizarre as you guys have said it is. So we'll let you know what we think when we get there. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Have a good week, and we will see you next week. We'll have some discussion next time on the recent anime NebraskaCon, and probably some discussion about maybe Andor and a few other shows that are out. So we will catch you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood podcast. For more information and past episodes, please visit our website at galacticdriftwood.space or subscribe to us on YouTube. And now, please deactivate your cranial downlinks, collect your towels, and be sure to watch your step as you exit our gravity well.